right, it's that time again. It's Friday. We've got our week 12 college football show. We're getting close to the end of the season. Good thing and a bad thing, but we're ready for it. And not the prettiest slate of games this week, but we still have some good ones. How you doing this weekend or how you doing today, Connor?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be back on the show and did had an okay week last week. This is pretty much the definition of average. But ready to have another winning week as we've had the majority of the season. But yeah, I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm good. I'm doing pretty good. How did you finish up last weekend?
500 on the dot.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I went 3-3. UCLA was probably the most disappointing game. They got killed by Nebraska. They played great in the second half, but I believe they had to try and overcome a 14 point, 17-point deficit. It wasn't great. So I got the loss of UCLA. A lot of money came in on Iowa leading up to kickoff, but we had 6.5 from the Friday show. They covered. They probably should have won the game outright, but didn't. A lot of money came in on Georgia, and it made a lot of sense. The Bulldogs played, I would say, their best game of the season against Mississippi State, and they just killed the Bulldogs. Alabama, they didn't have their best game, but they still covered 10 points, barely, but they still covered. And then Arizona, I was hoping that game went into overtime. It didn't go into overtime. Arizona was down by three with about 20 seconds left. They broke off a 20 something yard touchdown run, end up winning the game by 4 points, I believe. So didn't get the back door there with the chance at overtime, but we lost that one. And then West Virginia, that was actually a sweaty game. Colorado looked a lot better than I anticipated. Julian Lewis should have been the starting quarterback all along. But he had plenty of time to learn, so that's not always a negative for a team like Colorado. A lot of those games, Colorado probably wasn't going to win anyways, but you never know if they do. If he played like he did against West Virginia, they may have had a chance to win at least one or two of those games, especially the ones at home. But for me, 3-3, that puts me at 24-19-5 on the season. Not the best Saturday, but it could have been, I guess it could have been worse, but we just move on there.
What did you say your record was again? 24-19 and what?
24-19-5.
That's right. Okay, that's what I have as well. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
go ahead.
No, I wasn't. I was just gonna say what my record was, but I wasn't wanting to interrupt you. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was it really, and we didn't have an early week show for a couple reasons. But like last week, we talked about the college football playoff. Not a lot has changed other than Virginia losing to Wake Forest, so in slides Miami. So now you have the debate between the Miami Hurricanes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Fighting Irish have a tough game this week, and so does Miami. They're about 15.5 point favorites at home against North Carolina State, but both teams need to win out. Irish, I do have a feeling Notre Dame's going to sneak into the playoffs unless they lose a game, which is always possible, but not as likely as it is for all these other teams that have conference, not only conference scheduling, but a conference championship, which means an extra game to play at the end of the season. So I do think Notre Dame slides in there. The Miami spot again is still kind of up in limbo because another SEC team could slide in there, like the Texas Longhorns. They have Georgia on deck, and then Arkansas, and finish the season with Texas A&M. So if UT wins out, that puts them in the SEC championship, I believe, more than likely, and that probably gets them a berth into the playoffs. But a long way to go. A lot of games left. Was there anything about the college football playoff that stood out to you? The rankings, that is. Memphis also got bounced. Memphis lost. They got killed by Tulane. They made it respectable at the end. So Memphis is knocked out. I believe the top G5 school is South Florida.
Yes, and I agree with that. I think it should be USF. I know they have two losses, but I mean they should have beat Memphis. They had that game in control. I really don't know what happened in the fourth quarter of that game, but you look at what USF's done in the non-conference this year. They deserve to be that top G5 team right now. So I 100% agree with the committee's choice to put the Bulls in that slot.
I agree. I mean, we've talked about this almost every week that whoever does win the American more than likely will slide into that last spot. I guess the 12th spot in the college football playoff, and they'll be more than likely facing some tough competition. But that's what they're there for, to at least give themselves a chance and sell it on the field, rather than parading around like the Central Florida Knights did a few years ago. I mean, it's been a while since then, but that was an imaginary national championship. Now they actually have a chance to prove it on the field. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into this week's games, this weekend's games, rather. We have a few good ones tonight, at least some notable ones tonight. But before we get into that, CFE wants to try and guess my best bets for this week. We haven't done this before, but it's I am curious. I am curious what he comes up with, because at least for myself, I could guess what he does, at least half of what he does every week. Um, but we're gonna see if he could read my mind. So let's go ahead and hear it, CFE. Which games do you think I'm on? And I have, let's see here, one, two, three, four. I have five this week. Let's see how many you could guess.
I've got three guesses right now.
Okay.
So let's see. Do you have Arkansas plus 5.5 against LSU?
I do not. Arkansas is dead to
Okay.
me. They're no longer going to bet on Arkansas. I was looking at that line actually this morning, and I said to myself, "Wow, LSU shouldn't be favored by 5.5 against anybody." But then on the other side, on my other shoulder, I'm thinking, John, why would you want to bet on Arkansas? They're a bunch of idiots. You know, they're coming off a bye week, I believe, so maybe they can get in there. But I remember very vividly last year I had a bet on Arkansas at home against LSU. Arkansas ends up getting beat by 30 points. Didn't even give themselves a chance in that game. So Taylon Green had probably his worst game I've ever seen with the Razorbacks in that game against LSU. So that was a nice reminder for me not to bet on anything in that game. All right, strike one.
um, do you have Michigan State plus 7.5 hosting Penn State?
I do not. I do
Okay.
not. Yeah, no. My rule with Michigan State is you got to have at least 14 points to bet on that team.
Gotcha. Okay.
So no, I do think there might be a letdown spot for Penn State, but Michigan State, no, I rather not. I rather not. A little too putrid for me.
So like my whole thinking for that was I could just see you saying Penn State's winless in Big Ten play, and they're favored by more than a touchdown on the road coming off that game against Indiana. Why are we trusting Penn State, who hasn't shown that ability yet this season? So
No,
I
I
thought you
agree.
would
No,
kind
I
of go
agree
on that.
100%. The only problem is
It's Michigan State.
the team they're going against is Michigan State. So it's like they're just as equally as bad, which tells you should probably take the underdog, but at the same time, you don't want to be holding a ticket with either one of those teams in my opinion. There's plenty of other ugly games to bet on this week. That one, I will say I do have an ugly Big 10 game on my card, but that's not one of them.
Okay. Is
Strike
the
two.
other strike two? Man, okay. I was actually feeling good about those two. My favorite one was actually my favorite one was the Arkansas one. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to be going against LSU.
Yeah.
Okay, last one here. Do you have something on the Alabama Oklahoma game?
I do not. I don't.
Dang.
Strike
Okay.
three. I thought about it, and I'm like, of course, I think Alabama's going to cream Oklahoma, but Oklahoma's coming
Yeah.
off a bye, a little bit of momentum. And you would think a month later, this is probably about the time Mateer's thumb starts feeling a little better, and he might be able to throw the ball. But like we talked about last week, I've been waiting for a month. So I've been waiting a month, 2 months now, for Oklahoma to start running the football and running the football with Mateer. They didn't do it for the past month. And then the one time I bet against Oklahoma, they start running the football against Tennessee. So I do think Tennessee has a chance in this game, but can Mateer throw the ball because Alabama's going to be able to move the football. Is Oklahoma's defense going to be able to cover the pass? Something they haven't done the last month until they played Tennessee. So that Oklahoma team that played Tennessee is the same one that we saw beat up on Michigan and played in the first half against Texas. But I haven't seen, we haven't seen that Oklahoma team since that first half against Texas and until they played against Tennessee. So which Oklahoma team is going to show up on Saturday? I'm interested to see. 6 points it feels like the right number because you have to assume, Alabama's best game, Oklahoma's best game. Oklahoma probably could cover that, but again, which Oklahoma team's going to show up, and we don't know that yet because of how bad Tennessee played in that game. I would say due to the Oklahoma defense, but that first half, Tennessee doubled yardage of Oklahoma. They had more passing yards. They had more rushing yards, almost double than the Sooners. Yet the Sooners were either tied or Sooners were winning by a field goal at halftime because they had 3-4 turnovers they had forced, and they just controlled the rest of the football game very easily with their defense. So maybe this Oklahoma team's back, but we'll have to wait and find out. That's why I don't have a ticket on Alabama this weekend, though.
Gotcha. So you
Well,
said earlier a gross.
thought you were gonna. I actually thought you were gonna get at least two out of the three.
Man, I really am surprised you don't have something on Arkansas. I was really confident about
Yeah,
that one.
I thought about it, but then I was just remembering that game last year. I had so much confidence in Arkansas at home against LSU, and LSU killed them. I think Taylon Green had like 4 or 5 turnovers. It was a disaster. So I don't want anything to do with Arkansas the rest of the season. And now I'm hearing that they may hire Ed Orgeron, so I may never bet on Arkansas again, to be honest with you, for probably another 4 years. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and jump into tonight's games. We'll start. We have a couple Power Five schools playoff implications on the line in both of these games. Let's start with the first one. 6:30. You have the Louisville Cardinals laying 2.5 points, hosting Clemson and Dabo Sweeney. You got any info on this one?
No, I have not even looked towards this game. Have you?
I have a very interesting game. Apparently, a lot of public play on Louisville Cardinal at home. Louisville's coming off of some would say an embarrassing loss to Cal, but as we know, we've talked about Cal's a game team. Sometimes they don't show up, but Cal could play with basically any ACC school, in my opinion. And they did. They beat Louisville. Did that game go into overtime? I believe it did
Yes,
go
it did go
overtime.
to overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Louisville's coming off a loss, but a little nugget here. Out of the last 10 games that these two teams have played, I believe 9 or 10, Louisville's only won one of those matchups. So this is going to be very interesting. Although Clemson and Louisville were completely different programs, the past, what, other than the last 2 or 3 years since Brom's been at Louisville, Clemson's obviously had the much better program. But Clemson's been a strong road team. And Louisville, I believe, other than beating Miami on the road, they're kind of a fraud alert team, in my opinion. They were last year for me, and they still are this year. We're going to find out because Clemson might be starting to figure things out on the defensive side of the ball. But, this is an interesting game to me. If anything, as much as it pains me to say this, I may go Clemson here, but I haven't decided. There's a lot of movement going back and forth, so I may wait till a little closer to kickoff. Again, 6:30 kick, but right now I do lean Clemson. All right, next game, 8 p.m. Kind of a stinker, another Big Ten stink fest here. That's the Golden Gophers heading to Oregon, take on the Ducks. Ducks laying 25 points in this one. You have any info on this game?
I could see this is kind of just a sleepy spot for Oregon. They're not fully healthy. They don't need to be fully healthy to beat Minnesota. I could see the under, like for the full game, but I'm 0-2 on game total unders. I'm not going to make this a best bet, but I could see like a 27-10 kind of score.
Okay, yeah, we've got a total of 45 juice to the under. Not sure how the weather's supposed to be there in Eugene, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Minnesota, are they coming off of a bye? I'm trying to think if I can't remember them playing last week. So possibly, okay, so maybe, I mean, it's not something I'm gonna bet on, but under, I could see that. Minnesota's gonna want to drain the clock and make it an ugly game, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I probably won't have anything. Probably won't have anything there. All right, tomorrow, 11 a.m. Air Force Falcons at the Yukon Huskies. Yukon came up big for you last weekend outright with the win over Duke. Now they're laying 7.5, hosting Air Force. You have anything here?
I do. This is a weird spot for UConn. So last week was a golden spot for the Huskies. This is an interesting matchup. In the preseason, I didn't really talk about UConn that much this year like I did last year. I mean, I was like the UConn enthusiast in 2024. But when I was looking at their roster coming into this season, I thought offensively they could be a juggernaut, at least by UConn standards, you know, and they have been. They have one of the best wide receiver quarterback tandems in the country. Their quarterback hasn't even thrown a single interception all season. We talked about this last week on the show. But defensively, I thought there could be some questions. I thought there would be some questions and potential issues at the defensive line. And when they have faced teams that rely on the running game, which Duke does not, which is why I liked UConn in that matchup, um, I do question UConn's ability to stop the run. So when they faced heavy rushing teams this year, they've either lost or barely won, even against some bottom G5 teams like a Ball State. They struggled with because they pride themselves. Not that Ball State's good at it, but they rely on the running game. Teams that rely on the running game can push UConn around. Well, let me guess. Does Air Force run the football? Just a little
A
bit.
little bit, yeah.
And Liam Zarka, their quarterback, really good quarterback. Air Force could be a good buy low team for next year, and maybe for the rest of this season. They are still playing for a bowl game. UConn's not playing for any special bowl game because they've lost three heartbreakers in overtime this year. This is a weird spot, though, again, for the Huskies coming off that big win. When you look at UConn this year, they typically don't play well the week following a big game. Like, they've put in all in efforts against Syracuse, Boston College, and then Duke last week. Go back to their performances against Syracuse and then Boston College. Look what they did the week after. The week after they lost that heartbreaker in Syracuse, they lost to Delaware. Delaware is not a great team. They're a fine team in their first year in the
Yeah.
FBS, not a great team. And then the week after, UConn steamrolled Boston College on the road. They lost to Rice. And now you play an Air Force team that's better than their record. Honestly, guys, I don't think I'm going to have a best bet on this because I don't trust the Air Force defense to stop UConn's offense, especially not their secondary against that UConn passing attack. But if UConn doesn't bring their A game, they could lose this game because I think Air Force could control the pace. So I don't have a best bet here, but I have a lean, folks, and that's Air Force plus 7.5.
All right, I like it. Total is at 63.5 as well, but yeah, I like that. Next game, UTSA Roadrunners laying 17.5 at Charlotte. Roadrunners coming off of an embarrassing, I don't even know if you would call it embarrassing. They got mutilated on the road against South Florida. Now they must take on Charlotte. You have anything in this one?
A little bit. Um, we have come to know UTSA this year. UTSA and Washington are complete opposite teams from when they play at home to when they play on the road. I mean, those I don't even recognize those teams when they play away from home. Um, but Jeff Traylor, since he's been at UTSA, has been terrific against the spread coming off of a loss. I don't have the number in front of me, but I know it's a really good record. And Charlotte, I mean, they just it's like the bottom keeps falling out for Charlotte. So Like I lean UTSA, but do I trust them? Would I make this a best bet? Heck no. But but that is noteworthy. Like if you had a strong feel for this game with the Roadrunners, I'm giving you that info that Jeff Traylor is a good coach to back coming off of a loss. I just don't trust UTSA away from home this year.
Yeah, I agree, and I believe I felt the same. I'm trying to think which game it was that they lost, and then they just destroyed the next team. Was it Rice? But that was a home game. I'm trying to think they had a big road game, but I think UTSA dominates here. A little extra rest, chance to beat up on an opponent. I'm not laying 17.5 on the road, but this seems like this is a game where UTSA is going to need to kill Charlotte to, I don't even want to say salvage their season. There's nothing left to salvage, but this is a must-win game for UTSA, and I think that the way they lost to South Florida, they could run it up here. But again, like you said, I agree with it. Just playing UTSA on the road, you just never know what you're going to get, to be honest. All right, next game, 11 a.m. Arizona Wildcats at the Cincinnati Bearcats. Bearcats laying 6 here. You have anything in this one?
I thought about pulling the trigger on Arizona because I don't think Cincinnati is just that much better than Arizona. Um, but I don't really. Arizona's been better than I thought they would be, but I just don't want to make that a best bet, counting on a road team and then counting on Arizona. Like if I look back at it, in a couple weeks from now,
Yeah.
like, and why did I trust Arizona in that spot again? So I don't have any best bets for this game, but I lean U of A just because I don't think Cincinnati is as good as their record is.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I would play Arizona here getting 6. I think these teams are a little closer to equals than you might expect. Again, road team, I don't know. I mean, you've been saying it all year. A lot of these Big 12 games, they're a lot closer than you would think. And a lot of these Big 12 games have been that close. Like Arizona, Kansas came down to the wire. 3-point game turned into a 4-point game the other way. So I would take Arizona, but after last weekend, not a best bet. Go blue. Greatest says go blue. Which blue? I'm curious which blue. Michigan? Well, maybe he'll let us know. All right. So yeah, nothing for me in that game. Let's go to the next game. South Florida laying 10 points at Navy. Midshipmen are hosting the Bulls here. You have anything in this game?
Um, well, I'm making part of a play with this. I'm doing a three leg parlay, money line parlay.
Okay.
Um, I like USF to win outright for sure. Um,
Oh, that's
but
right. This is one
so
of your legs. That's right.
yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and discuss it. Um, trying to pull up my graphic here. Let's see. Yeah, one of my three legs with along with USC and Utah. So I think the U's here, USF, USC, and the Utes all take care of business this week. Two of those teams will be playing on the road. Honestly, John, I wouldn't be shocked if all three of those teams with Utah, USC, and USF, if they all end up covering their respective spreads, but I certainly like them outright. So, John, what did you say that price was earlier this week? Plus 160, plus 165?
Oh, I'm not. I don't remember because it was 3 teams, right? I think it was plus 130, 40. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'd have to
Yeah,
go
maybe
back
that's what
and
it
kind of
was.
look here really quick.
Plus 135. That's right.
135, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah. Yeah, I love that play. So, this time of year, there is a lot of motivation that comes into play. Most teams to this point have either not lived up to expectation or have lived up to expectation. So when you're looking at those last couple of games, what's the edge? The edge comes to motivation. What are they playing for? And so that's what a lot of my best bets will be based on this week is what is there to play for? Or for their if I'm fading a team, why am I fading them? Is there something that, is out of the question now for them? So, um all three of these teams, USF, Utah, and USC, right now, all have a chance to make the college football playoff. And you look at USC hosting Iowa, Iowa coming off that really heartbreaking loss at home against Oregon last week. I mean that game was stolen from them by Oregon's playmaking in the last minute. I mean Iowa thought that they had that game at the end there, and now they're going on the road, and Iowa can no longer play for the Big Ten title or even make the CFP. USC, I don't. I guess technically their Big Ten title odds are not out of question. It's just not likely to happen with Ohio State and Indiana with those two
Yeah,
teams remaining schedules. But technically, their Big Ten title hopes are not totally gone, but their CFP hopes are definitely still there. And USC's been a much better home team than road team.
yeah,
So again, I just like USC outright, but I also kind of lean USC minus 6.5, even minus 7.
yeah.
Um, remember, Oregon was banged up last week. We haven't really we haven't really seen Iowa face an offense like this away from home. They faced Indiana at home. They hosted Oregon, but again, Oregon was banged up. So this is a good spot for USC, especially from the emotional perspective. And then USF. Guys, I kind of lean USF minus 10. I lean USF minus 10.5 against Navy. I told y'all at the beginning of the year on my college football Instagram page that Navy would start well, but fade late. And that's what's been going on in November so far. Navy is so far 0-2 ATS this month. And like Notre Dame,
Blowouts as well, no? Or didn't they get blown out in each game?
they got beat decisively against UNT. I think North Texas took their foot off the gas. And then obviously Notre Dame blew out Navy, but Navy didn't have the starting quarterback because I don't think Navy felt like they were going to win that game anyways. And there was no need for based on what Navy was playing for at the time to even play Horvath if he was banged up. Horvath, I would expect him to play this week. Whether he does or does not, USF's winning this game. So I certainly like USF outright. And then Utah against Baylor. What do you guys remember what Auburn did to Baylor in week 1 when they just handled them at the line of scrimmage? That's what Utah's going to do. Now, Baylor, like they did against Auburn, they might get their 350 yards passing. Sawyer Robertson is a really good quarterback. I'm sure he's going to get his numbers in this game, but they're not winning this game. Utah should control the line of scrimmage, and like I said with the previous two games, I kind of lean Utah against the spread in this game as well. But obviously, with this parlay, I'm just going to take the Utes outright. All three, the Utes, USC, and USF, all right now have playoff spots still to play for, and they might try to even, win by margin if possible. So I love that parlay.
Okay. Nice. Okay, nice. Next game at 11, the Wisconsin Badgers at the Indiana Hoosiers. Hoosiers land 29 at home. You got anything here?
No, I do not. I'm still upset at Wisconsin for beating Washington last week. So
Yeah.
I'd love to fade Wisconsin, but no, I don't have anything.
Let's see here. Greatest says South Florida, USC, Utah money line. I dig it. Yes, sir. Lock it in. At least you're getting close to plus 130 on that. 134, 130. So, nice little price there. Yeah, and for me, nothing here. I could see Wisconsin playing this one close, maybe a little momentum, but Indiana, I'm not fading Indiana because they like to run up the score, and if they do get this to 28 points, they're gonna be still looking to pile on points. So it's another ugly game I have nothing to do with. All right, Esteban, big ups to Sam Houston State for no longer
Yeah.
being the worst team in college football. Oh, with the straight up win in Corvallis against your Oregon State Beavers.
Gosh. Oregon State outgained Sam Houston by over 300 yards and lost.
What they have, pick sixes or something?
Oregon State had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Then they had one big play for a touchdown late first half off of a turnover. And then they had a punt block for a touchdown.
Sam Houston did.
Yeah.
Wow,
Oregon State outgained them by 300 yards.
and they still lost.
Here's college football in a nutshell, trying to bet ATS especially. Okay, so Louisiana Tech killed Sam Houston a couple of weeks ago, and then Oregon State lost to Sam Houston outright. But Oregon State actually outgained Sam Houston by more yards than what Louisiana Tech outgained Sam Houston by. That just goes to show you that
Yeah,
sometimes it's not just about the stats and the flow of the game. Sometimes a team can get a little lucky with some of the bounces of the football, forcing a few turnovers, or taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. And you know what? In a game like that, with a current at the time a 2-win Oregon State against a winless Sam Houston, you just got one team that happens to be a little bit uglier than the other team going into the matchup, but the team that was worse than the other team made less mistakes. And sometimes those teams are alive in those scenarios.
and it happened. It happened last game of the night, so you know something weird's gonna happen, and it did. All right, next game, pretty big game. I believe this is one of the games of the week here, and that's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish laying 12 and a half on the road against the Pitt Panthers. You have anything here?
Don't, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to guess you do.
I do. I do.
Yes!
Yeah, I do. We'll give you a little honorable mention there. I do have Pittsburgh here.
Okay.
Main reason being, we talked about this. We like the Pittsburgh offense, and this Notre Dame defense is susceptible to athletes, big plays, passing attack. So I have to go with Pittsburgh here. I didn't think this number would be 12 and a half. I honestly didn't haven't been looking at it for that reason. I thought this would have been closer to 7, in that area, but 12 and a half is just a little bit too that's too many points in my opinion. Pittsburgh, downplaying this game a little bit. Is D'Antonio, or is that the Michigan State old head coach?
That's the old Michigan State coach, Pat Narduzzi.
Narduzzi, okay. Narduzzi, same staff, different guy. So Narduzzi is kind of downplaying this game, saying, "Oh, it's not an ACC game, doesn't really matter. Not a conference game, has nothing to do with like ACC championship playoffs." But the team, I think they feel a little bit different about this one. This is a huge game for Pittsburgh because not only will they get a notch on their belt against a rival Notre Dame team, but this is also, if they could finish the season strong in ACC play, this could get them into the college football playoff and bump Notre Dame out. And bump Notre Dame out in general. If Notre Dame loses this game, I think another SEC school is going to take their spot. Um, be, or maybe BYU. Maybe BYU slides back in because, like we talked about last week, we'll probably see a rematch between BYU and Texas Tech. Wouldn't be surprised if that's AC or the Big 12 championship. So this is actually a huge game. That's why it's probably the game of the week. But too many points for me. A game Pittsburgh can win because of this Notre Dame defense, especially on the road. Pittsburgh and Narduzzi.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Michigan State head coach. That's his mo. He's gonna want to make this dirty. He's gonna want to make this an ugly game for the Notre Dame offense and CJ Carr, freshman, on the road. I love Pitt here. Too many points, and it's a game that the Panthers can win outright. So that's my first best bet of the weekend.
And is it 12 and a half everywhere
I'm
right now?
seeing 12 and a half. Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking around. Honestly, for listeners and viewers right now, you might get a 13 and a half tomorrow pop up. So
Oh, really? You think it's gonna move some?
I could see it. Maybe it doesn't, but I could see it. So if you want to wait around, I don't think it's going to move. I'd be shocked if it goes back down to 11 and a half. So
Yeah.
if
Okay.
you want to wait on that, if you like Pittsburgh, I'd wait on that. You might even get a better price if it does stay at 12 and a half. Because right now Notre Dame's getting a little bit of money at that line right now. So
Okay.
but yeah, right now I think the best available number is 12 and a half
All right. All right. I like it.
if you like Pitt.
All right, next game, another 11 a.m. kick, and this is the Kansas State Wildcats at Oklahoma State. You have anything on this one?
Um, well, it's been pretty common theme this year for Oklahoma State's opposition to hit their team total first half over. And so I think Kansas State's first half team total is 19 and a half, I want to say. So I
Okay.
guess I lean over for that. Both teams coming off of a bye week here. But I don't have any best bets for this. But again, it's been common theme for teams to hit their first half team total over against that awesome Oklahoma State defense.
Except for Kansas, right? Kansas didn't get it.
Except for KU, the one time I actually brought it up. Yeah, except for KU, yeah.
I had to sneak that in there. Next game, and I was almost on this one. South Carolina at Texas A&M. This has gone from at least 19 points down to 18. The Fighting Ags of College Station, little old train station, laying 18 points at home. You got anything here, Connor?
Yeah, I wonder if A&M's going to run it up on South Carolina because remember what happened last year. South
Yeah.
Carolina destroyed A&M. I know A&M has not forgotten about that. But there's also the caveat where you could argue at this point in the season. I know South Carolina record-wise hasn't been what they were hoping to be this year, but they've been pretty competitive in the majority of their losses. And so if you want to make the argument that in this time of year, typically teams, that don't have a significant talent gap, they're not favored this much. And so if you want to argue South Carolina plus the points, I can see that argument. If you want to base it off of, if you want to lay it with A&M, similar to what I was originally bringing up with A&M not forgetting what happened last year in this game. I could also get that argument if you want to lay it with the Aggies, but I don't have any best bets here. Do you? You do? Okay.
I do. Hold on, I lost my spot. Okay, yeah, I do. And this was an honorable mention. Uh, I'm just gonna bump it up to a best bet here. This is one of those games where we may even get a better number here, but A&M they've been away from home from almost a month. I think they're gonna kill South Carolina here. Everything that I've heard from quarterback Marcel Reese has been this game has been circled, and they've been looking forward to it actually. And A&M has been destroying opponents. Yes, they've been terrible, but I think South Carolina might be the worst out of all of them. LSU, Missouri. South Carolina got beat by both those teams. They got beat by Missouri. They got beat by LSU. So I think A&M is going to kill South Carolina in this game. South Carolina, and I'm going to go hot take here. I'm going to go hot take here. South Carolina is not going to score a single touchdown in this game. I'll go hot take.
Whoa. All right.
South Carolina is not going to score a touchdown in this game. No look ahead spots for A&M. They got Samford next week, I believe, and then finish the season with UT. So this is their highlight here, and I think A&M is going to kill South Carolina, and I hate A&M, but Texas A&M is the most obvious bet on the board every single week, and I haven't been betting them just because of my hatred for them. But and this will be the one time they screw me, of course. But who cares? A&M's gonna kill South Carolina, and yeah, there's nothing South Carolina can do about it. I think I don't think they're gonna fire Shane Beamer. I think they should fire him, but I don't think they'll do it unless Beamer, I don't know, because I still think Beamer. I wouldn't be surprised if Virginia Tech tries to get Beamer. If I'm South Carolina, I would fire Shane Beamer. I think South Carolina is going to get killed here. They'll fire Shane Beamer. He'll probably go to Virginia Tech, ruin that school too. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, give me A&M on the board, laying 18 points. I don't care. They're going to win by 3 touchdowns or more, and South Carolina is not going to score one single touchdown in this game.
There is some crazy discrepancy with the different sports books with this number for A&M in
Really?
South Carolina. So at FanDuel, if you like A&M, go to FanDuel. You can find a 17 and a half, and it's not juiced too much. But at DraftKings, if you like South Carolina, go to DraftKings where you can find the Gamecocks plus 19 and a half.
Wow. Yeah, that is a huge difference. 2 whole points. That's a lot. All right. Next game. The greatest Michigan Wolverines laying 11 on the road at Northwestern in Chicago. You have anything here?
What's the total?
Total of 41 juice to the over.
I can see the under for that game, but I don't have any best bets for that game. But I
I
can
do.
see you do. Are you gonna
I
lay it with
do.
the Wolverines?
No, I actually think Northwestern's going to cover this game. Why am I going back to the well with Northwestern after they screwed me against USC? Mostly because of a lineman wanting to score a touchdown. He couldn't just fall his fat ass down. Instead, he not only tries to score a touchdown, he dives for the end zone and fumbles it out of bounds. Northwestern doesn't score another touchdown for the rest of the game. So that was a nightmare. They would have covered 14 and a half if he would have just either went out of bounds or held on to the football. That was the type of weekend it was for me. But I think Northwestern makes this game ugly. I think that they struggled against USC because of the speed and dynamic receivers that the Trojans have. Michigan doesn't necessarily have that. They've got a more of a ground and pound style. Even though they have Underwood, they do much better when they run the football. And I think that's more manageable for Northwestern. If Northwestern can protect the ball, Preston Stone, he wasn't too bad. He actually had like a pretty decent game. But I don't I I don't like the play calling for Northwestern. They were destroying USC running the football, and then the OC just called nothing but passing plays, and they, Preston Stone, those receivers, they're not that good, but the running backs, they were doing great. So if Northwestern can, run the football, establish a run, and then mix in some passing, I think they'll be fine. But yeah, for me, this is a game I could see Northwestern even making getting an upset over Michigan. I'm not sure who Michigan has next week, but Northwestern's, I think there's just way too many points here for a Northwestern team that's very capable on both sides of the football.
I do want to quickly chime in and say a best bet before this number changes, and we're gonna go ahead and lock this in. I'll talk about it at length when we get to it. Give me the Boise State team total under 20.5 at FanDuel right now. Lock it in.
All right. All right. Next game. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'll go ahead and bring it back up for those who missed it. And 11:45 a.m. kick, and that's the Arkansas Razorbacks at the LSU Tigers. Do you have anything in this one, Connor?
Nope. And based on my first strike, I don't think you do either, right?
No, I don't have anything here. Kind of like you mentioned, Connor was guessing my best bets at the beginning of the show. He thought I would be on Arkansas plus 5.5. But no, can't do it. Can't do it. Arkansas coming off of a bye. LSU coming off of a tough game against Alabama where they hung around. But I just don't see it here. I don't. No way am I going to lay 5.5 with LSU. But I can't take Arkansas in good faith or tell anybody to back them, even though they have a chance at winning this game. But both of these teams are awful. Quarterbacks are awful. Offensive lines are terrible. Arkansas has no defense. LSU has a pulse. It's just an ugly game. I want nothing to do with it. What is this, the golden egg? Is this the golden boot rivalry?
Golden Boot, I believe. Yeah.
Golden boot. Okay, but it's a pass for me.
Or
Let's
just the
go on to the
boot,
next
yeah.
game. Connors fighting Beavers out of Corvallis, laying 2.5 on the road at Tulsa.
Gross. Is this the toilet bowl?
I don't know. This might have to be. How is Oregon State favored by 2.5 on the road here? Interesting. But do you have anything in this game?
Nope. Do you?
No, I would have to take Tulsa just based off principle, but I don't know if they've have any injuries or what. But Tulsa had that big, big win over Oklahoma State and haven't really done anything since then. So yeah, gross game. I rather be watching Northwestern Michigan. Next game, 12 high noon kick here. We got the West Virginia Mountaineers at the Arizona State Sun Devils laying 11.5 in Tempe. You have anything in this game?
Thought about taking the West Virginia team total under just because with Arizona State coming off a bye, and I like the Arizona State defense. I could see them kind of leaning on their defense the rest of the way because of some of the injuries on the offensive side of the football. And I still don't think West Virginia is all that great. They had a nice few weeks there. Great for them, but I don't love them in this spot here. But I ultimately don't have any best bets for this game. What's the total here?
47 and a half.
I could see the under there because both teams are going to run the football a lot. I'm not sure how much success West Virginia is going to have actually scoring in this game. Arizona State, they're going to run the football, and I think they're going to run it pretty successfully. But how many points are they actually going to get? I don't know. So I kind of lean under there.
Okay, yeah, I don't hate that. Myself, I'm back in West Virginia once again.
Ooh, best bet?
Yep, West Virginia plus 11.5. Mountaineers. They did a good job against the run. Terrible against the pass against Colorado, but they weren't terrible, but they weren't good either. I don't know. Arizona State is coming off of a bye, and they just have so many injuries that they're dealing with offensively, and I don't know. I think West Virginia getting double digits here is a I think is the best way to go. Mostly because I kind of feel like this spread should be closer to 7. I'm trying to think. West Virginia's not terrible on the road. They're actually a pretty decent road team. I'm trying to think. The spread against Houston was 13, and that now, and then Houston beat Arizona State outright, and now it's only a 1.5 point difference. So I disagree with the spread here. I'm trying to think. Yeah, probably should be getting more points, but that was a different Arizona State team. So it's about right. But yeah, go ahead and give me the 11.5 with West Virginia. I think that the offense is still improving, a lot of young players, but I do like the West Virginia defense. They need to tighten up the pass coverage, but again, I think it's just too many points here. This could be around like 8 points for Arizona State. So, and we don't really know what we're going to get with the Sun Devils offensively. So I'm happy to take the points here, West Virginia. Okay, next game, 1 p.m. Maybe you have something here, and that's the North Texas Mean Green Lane 18 on the road at UAB Blazers.
You would think I would have something, but I don't. Like
Nothing.
the only times I like to lay it with UNT is when they're playing at home. They're not a great road team, and they proved that against Charlotte. Like it was late third quarter, and we were like, is Charlotte gonna hang around here? And then North Texas put up a huge number in the fourth quarter. But I don't think UNT is a really good road team. So not saying that they can't cover this number because if I thought that, I would have a best bet on UAB.
Yeah.
But I don't have any strong leans here.
Okay. Next game, 2 p.m. Colorado State Rams at the New Mexico Lobos. Do you have anything here?
Hard spread for a Mountain West, but Colorado State, I think they're kind of just done this year. And New
Yeah.
Mexico coached well. I could see New Mexico. I don't have any bets just because I don't want to lay it, lay two touchdowns with New Mexico really ever.
Yeah.
I know that again they're coached really well, and I could see it in this spot against this Colorado State team. So like I get the spread. I just don't want to make it one of my best bets. Do you have a strong lean here?
I do actually.
Are you gonna lay it?
I'm gonna lay. I have New Mexico written down as one of my best bets, laying 14 points.
There you
Colorado
go.
State's just not a good football team. Not only are they a not good football team, they're even worse on the road than they are at home. We saw how they played against Wyoming. Wyoming destroyed them, and I think New Mexico does the same. This offense is they can move the football. They could run it, throw it. But yeah, I just don't think Colorado State could keep this within 2 touchdowns, especially if New Mexico just takes care of the football. not a real look ahead spot here either. They've got Air Force next week. They finished the season with San Diego State. So I think New Mexico should be, ready to go this game. I'm laying it with the Lobos here.
Is it a flat 14?
Flat 14, yeah.
Okay.
All right. All right, 2:30. I don't know if you have something here, but I'll bring it up because of the matchup, and that's App State at James Madison. James Madison laying 21 points here.
If For anyone tuning in right now, if you're going to play anything with JMU the rest of the way, they're going to try to impress the committee. And JMU is more of a second half team than a first half team, although they didn't prove that against Marshall as much. Although they played well in the fourth quarter, but not
Did
in
they
the third
cover the
quarter.
spread though?
No, they
No, they
didn't.
didn't.
And they covered the first half spread, not the second half spread, of course. The one time I actually take them second half. But JMU's been a great second half team this year. And like they played well in the fourth quarter against
Mhm.
Marshall, just not great in the third quarter outside of one big touchdown play pass early on in the second half. But outside of that, in the third quarter specifically, they did not play well at all. Now I will say this: JMU was probably a fourth down conversion on a fake punt from Marshall away from covering the full game and the second half. So I was probably one play away from that cashing. But so I like this. The rest of the way, I'm going to lean JMU, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I at three touchdowns here, maybe even 21 and a half at some places. I don't have a best bet. I don't have a best bet in particular, but I guess my lean would be JMU in the second half.
Okay. All right, 2:30 kick. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets laying 16 and a half at Boston College. You have anything here?
No, I don't trust Georgia Tech whenever they're laying a pretty big number. So no.
Agreed. Agreed. Nothing for me either. I don't know if you have something here, but let's go ahead and talk about it. And that's the Virginia Cavaliers at the Duke Blue Devils. Duke laying 4.5.
So 2, 3 weeks ago, I said I would have a best bet for this week. That was me thinking two things. One, Chandler Morris was still going to be pretty healthy going into the matchup. And then second, that Virginia would not lose to Wake Forest at home going into
Hmm.
this game. So I thought there would be a little bit more sell high opportunity fading Virginia, and I thought there would be a little bit more buy low with Duke in this spot. Now, I know Duke's coming off a loss, and I lean Duke here. I wanted to make this a best bet, but ultimately at this number, I'm not going to because I don't trust that Duke defense.
Okay.
But I
All right.
lean Duke.
Yeah. Do what?
I lean Duke, but I lean Duke, no doubt.
Okay. All right. Next game. North Carolina State at Miami. Hurricanes laying 15 and a half at home.
Have any leans on this game? I can't get a feel for this one. Do you have a
Yeah, not me. Neither do I. This Miami team, they obviously started hot, kind of fizzled, but kind of are looking to find their way. I just can't. One, I can't lay with Miami, and I also don't want to take the points of North Carolina State because Miami does have the potential to blow out anybody with their offense. But I just, yeah, nothing for me here. North Carolina State could give them a tough game, but Miami definitely has a much better talent, and yeah, I can't, no, I don't like anything in this game. All right, one we kind of talked about earlier, but we'll go ahead and bring it back up. 2:30 kick. Penn State Nittany Lions laying 7 at East Lansing going up against the Michigan State Spartans. You have anything here?
It's going to be interesting to see how Penn State bounces back after that heartbreaking loss to Indiana because they thought they had that. And then Indiana just made some incredible plays down the stretch from Mendoza, quarterback that I'm sure maybe a lot of people at this point think should win the Heisman. Honestly, I think Julian Sane has a really good argument for that. Um, But anyways, it was an incredible catch by I want to say it was Omar Cooper for Indiana in the back of the end zone against Penn State. Yeah, how does Penn State bounce back after that? I mean, that was an all-in effort. Now, if you're Penn State, you can still make a bowl game, and you have two winless teams in Big Ten play going at it. And Michigan State quietly has covered 5 of their last 6 games, and Michigan State does a really good job in garbage time. I think they know what the spread is because they're covering, um,
Yeah,
and they make.
and also to backdoor these, they put in their better quarterback, and he moves the football, which I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't get the Aiden Childs experiment. It's a failed experiment. Luckily for him, he's still young. But that backup quarterback for Michigan State, is just the ball flies out of his hand. I don't understand why he doesn't get any playing time. But yeah, Michigan State, this is a putrid game. I would not lay it. So I would only take the points. But again, if you take the points, you're taking them with the Spartans. This is an ugly game. But again, yeah, I'm happy. I've Michigan State's covered, 3 times for me this year, and I'm good with that. I'm done with Michigan State.
Yeah, I thought about it pulling the trigger on Michigan State plus 7.5, but Penn State's the much better roster. If I felt like Michigan State had some juice to them, I don't think the spread would be as high as it is. And
Yeah,
but if it was, then I would have a best bet. But
yeah.
I don't. I do wonder though, like, what's Penn State's psyche? If I could get a strong, if you could put me in the locker room for both teams going into this matchup, then I might have a best bet for you. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
won't be
I know what you mean by that.
I won't be physically in attendance for that game. So
Next game, 2:30, the Oklahoma Sooners taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Tide laying 6 points at home. Anything here?
no, I just kind of want to kick back and watch this game.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about this game earlier. Connor guessed he thought I'd be on Alabama. I believe Alabama laying 6, or at least have something on this game. I do not. Like I said earlier, I've been waiting. I've been waiting forever, like a month, for Oklahoma to start running the football with Mateer, running the football in general, and playing defense. They haven't done it. They didn't do it for the past month, but they did it against Tennessee. They ran the football, they used material to run the football, and they played defense. So, which Oklahoma team shows up? Oklahoma's coming off of a bye. Alabama's coming off of a rivalry game against LSU. Wasn't that close and enough. I just don't know which Oklahoma team's going to show up. Alabama again, top 5 team in the country. They have probably the best quarterback in the country as well. I can't lay it with Alabama. I would lay it with Alabama, but I just don't know which Oklahoma team shows up. If the Oklahoma, how they're supposed to play every week, shows up, yeah, Oklahoma has a chance in this game, even if they're on the road. This is 2:30 kick. But again, I just don't know which one's going to show up. I lean Alabama, but nothing for me in this game. All right, next game, 2:30 kick, Texas State at Southern Miss. Do you have anything here? Southern Miss laying 3 points. You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're right.
All right,
Thank
there
you.
you go.
What do we do, DDSN Nation, when we have Southern Miss playing? We lay the points with the Golden Eagles. They are 5-0 straight up and 5-0 against the spread. They covered for me again last week, and I'm gonna lay them again. Now, a lot of sharps are on Texas State here. Um, at some point, it's hard for teams to go undefeated ATS if you just keep riding them, right? But until they prove me otherwise, I'm not going to stop. Like, why would I stop? um, this is a big home game for Southern Miss. They are currently 2 games ahead in the Sun Belt West standings. This is a big home game for the Golden Eagles. This might be their best home crowd of the season. Mississippi State, though, had a really good crowd as well. So at least one of the better home crowds for Southern Miss. Look, Texas State, they had some. They're going to have some absences on defense because of a late game brawl against Louisiana last week. Now that doesn't weigh heavily because Texas State can't really stop anyone. But Texas State's offense is really good. I'm sure they're going to get their yards here. But guess what Texas State struggles with? Turnovers. Guess who is currently number 1 in the country in turnover margin? Southern Miss. Southern Miss kind of has a no-fly zone in their defensive secondary. They've got 2 of the better defensive backs in the Sun Belt, and maybe including maybe the best in Josh Moten. So give me Southern Miss. I'll lay the 3. If I push, I push. I know Texas State, it feels like they are bound to finally win a game in Sun Belt play because they've been blowing these games and these big leads, but Southern Miss, I think offensively just as good or maybe slightly worse, and then defensively much better. Give me the Golden Eagles, John. I'm going to keep riding them.
Has Texas State even won a road game since the UTSA game?
I don't believe so. Nope.
Yeah, I don't think they have one road win after they beat UTSA. So I don't understand this spread whatsoever, especially after that brawl. Have some players missing. I don't get it. I saw -3, and that I just didn't understand. I guess nobody's watched Southern Miss play this year. And yeah, Texas State's nothing special. They've been kind of terrible after that UC or UTSA game, just like kind of what happened last year.
Texas State, yardage wise, has actually been better than Southern Miss in Sun Belt play. But here is where it all comes down for me with Southern Miss this year. Coaching. I mean, sure, they have some decent talent, but my whole thing with Southern Miss this year was buy low with them. The West Division doesn't have a juggernaut of a team. There's no JMU there. There's no team with the talent upside of like an Old Dominion. I know ODU has been inconsistent this year. They won by a lot last night, but there's no JMU in the West Division. So there's no team that's just like that much better than everybody else. So I thought Southern Miss, with that buy low potential, could break through this year with some decent talent that they got through the portal with the Marshall team that won the Sun Belt last year. But more importantly, their coaching staff. They find ways to win. And Texas State, quite frankly, they find ways to lose. Give me Southern Miss.
Yeah, I can't disagree there. All right, 2:30 kicks. Central Florida at Texas Tech. Red Raiders laying 23.5 points. You have anything here?
I'm staying away, but I will bring up something regarding Texas Tech and their home games. DDSN Nation, I cashed another one of my preseason futures. Texas Tech over 5.5 home wins. They're 6-0 at home, so whether it doesn't matter what happens in this game for that future. But based on one of my preseason takes on my college football Instagram page, I said that with one of my Big 12 double takes was that Texas Tech would finish undefeated at home for the first time since 2008. So in that respect, I need Texas Tech to win this game so I can go ahead and lock that take in. But yeah, I cashed another preseason future. Texas Tech over 5.5 home wins.
Good. All right, next game, another 2:30 kick. Terrapins at the Illinois Fighting Illini. Illinois laying 16 here. Do you have anything in this game?
Is Maryland in quit mode?
They're not in win mode. I'll tell you that.
I lean Illinois here. I'm not going to make it a best bet, but I lean Illinois.
Did Maryland get killed last week? I forget who they played.
Rutgers.
Rutgers, didn't they?
Yep,
Wasn't that a
I'm pretty
close
sure.
game?
It was close at halftime, and I think Rutgers pulled away.
Okay,
I
so
think Rutgers.
basically like every Maryland game this season.
Yeah, and you know what? I tell you what, I'm not going to make this a best bet, but if you guys, uh, for our viewers here, if you want to go sicko mode in this game, give me Illinois to cover the second half spread, whatever that is.
Yeah, Maryland, for whatever reason, they just literally do not show up in the second half of games. I don't get it. If Maryland played in the second half like they do in the first half, they'd be one of the best teams in the Big Ten, which is a little hyperbole, but I mean they'd have a great record. But that's why it's a four-quarter football game. All right, next game, 2:30, Iowa Hawkeyes at the USC Trojans. I know you got something in this one. What is it?
It's part of that three-leg parlay, moneyline parlay. I like USC outright here, so I was discussing this earlier in the show. That three-leg parlay is USF, Utah, and USC. So give me USC outright here. And if you want to make this an individual bet, I lean USC minus 6.5 as well.
Let's see here. Here's an interesting spread. Memphis on the road. This is a 3 p.m. kick at East Carolina Pirates. ECU laying 3 points in this game.
So maybe my gut is wrong for this, but I'm making this a best bet. Give me the Pirates on the money line.
Oh, okay.
I think the right team is favored here. So This is a really good spot for East Carolina and a really bad spot for Memphis. So when I first saw that line, I'm like, yep, I agree with it. Because a lot of people were like, why is ECU the short favorite? Shouldn't Memphis be the short favorite? And you know what? Again, maybe my gut's wrong, like I said at the beginning here, but I'm going to go with my gut. So here's why it's a bad spot for the Tigers. So Memphis coming off that heartbreaking loss against Tulane where they fought back, and for a second there you thought they might pull it out, and then they lost. And they showed some of the reactions of the Memphis players on the sidelines in the last couple minutes of that game, and they kind of looked distraught, like, what's happening? So Memphis, with that loss to Tulane, remember Memphis had that crazy loss to UAB. Um, Memphis now has two American losses. They are pretty much out of the American title race. And because they are out of the American title race, they're also out of the college football playoff race. Adding on to that, Silverfield, the head coach from Memphis, I think he's getting some calls right now from Power Four schools to see if he wants to come coach for them. So, I mean, maybe Arkansas is looking at Silverfield. I know there are some Power Four programs out there that are
Yep.
looking his way. So there could be some off-field distractions. What's the motivation here for Memphis? Really, you're not playing for your conference title. You're not playing for an at-large in the playoff. You're not an SEC team or a Big Ten team. So, like again, what's the motivation here for Memphis? Meanwhile, East Carolina, they are currently still in the race for the American title. They only have one conference loss, and that was a close loss against Tulane on the road. And then you look at what East Carolina has done at home this season and then what they've done the last few weeks. They've been putting up some major numbers the last few weeks in conference play. Their offense is humming. The defense is playing really well. They're top 20 in stop rate this year on the defensive side of the football. The defense has been much better than I thought it would be after they lost all that production from last year on that side of the ball. Offensively, I knew they were going to be really good, and they've lived up to that billing. And they've been really good at home. This is a really good home team. Their only home loss was to BYU in a game that probably the game was closer than what the score would show you. I like ECU here, man. This is a big, big home game. This is their biggest conference home game in probably about a decade. Give me East Carolina money line.
Yeah, huge game. I agree. It's a bad spot for Memphis. Great spot for East Carolina, and that's why they're favored. I like it. I agree with you there. Let's see here.
Also, I think, don't quote me on this. You guys can go look it up. I thought I saw this nugget out there. East Carolina has won 9 of the last 11 matchups against Memphis.
Let me fact check that one really quick. Hold on. This will take me like a second. So you said how many?
I thought I saw 9 of the last 11.
They've definitely won 8 of the last 10.
Okay.
So yeah, 4-1 at home. Yeah.
So, yeah, I like ECU money line. You can find that price. I think there's probably some minus 140s out there. Maybe there's a minus 135. Shop around again for the best price, but I saw some minus 140s out there.
All right, perfect. All right, next game. North Carolina. This is a 3:30 kick. North Carolina at the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Wake Forest laying 6 points here.
So, I do have a best bet for this game, John.
Oh, okay.
Give me Wake Forest team total under 22 and a half. North
Yeah,
Carolina's defense has been playing really well here recently, and offensively, look, UNC is challenged. Both of these teams are challenged offensively. I'll get to the Wake Forest side here in a second, but let's start off with their opponent here in the Tar Heels. So, North Carolina, for the majority of the season, I think the defense has been fine, and then it's been playing really well recently. Offensively, it's been an uphill battle this entire year, and it still is. Here is the difference, though, with North Carolina over the last few weeks when they've been more competitive, and then recently coming off of back to back victories. Offense is still not doing much, but they are now avoiding turning the football over at such a high rate like they were doing early on. So they're letting their defense win them the game, and they're not putting themselves in bad positions, turning the football over. Wake Forest, we know what they've been this entire year. Really good defense, really bad offense. I mean, there's a wide discrepancy there for the Demon Deacons. But defensively, Wake Forest, they don't really force a ton of turnovers. They force some against SMU. That was just a really sloppy game from both teams. But really, what Wake Forest defense is better at is just getting the stops. They're top 35 in the country in stop rate, and they're going to get their fair share of stops here. So as long as North Carolina doesn't turn the ball over, and they've done a good job of that the last few weeks, I think Wake Forest is going to struggle offensively and to struggle to put up points. They're still going to struggle offensively. I think they're going to struggle to put up points if UNC does a good job of managing the football, not turning it over. So give me that Wake Forest team total under 22 and a half. John, we may not get 23 or 24 total points in this game.
Yeah, game totals at 38, so that's one of the lowest of the weekend for sure. And it has nothing to do with the weather. All
So
right.
yeah, North Carolina, just cross your fingers. I shouldn't even say cross your fingers because they've been better at it recently again. But as long as North Carolina doesn't turn the ball over a lot, they can still have one turnover. But as long as they don't turn it over a ton, Wake Forest is not going to hit this team total over.
Okay. All right. I like that. Yeah. Wake Forest has a pretty stout defense, so I can see that. All right. 6 p.m. kick. This has got to be our outhouse game of the week, and that's the Delaware Blue Hens laying 10 points at the Sam Houston State Bearcats.
I think the real toilet bowl is still Oregon State and Tulsa.
No, you might be right here. Because
At least
Delaware could
Delaware has
probably
a
be,
pulse.
yeah, yeah, Delaware's not terrible.
Um, I lean the Blue Hens here. I It's Sam Houston. I know Sam Houston won last week. Good for them. I'm glad those guys got a win because it's been a real struggle bus this year. And I think this game will be as well. So I lean Delaware, but this is not a best bet.
I know you got something in this game. 6 p.m. kick. That's the Utah Utes laying 9, heading to Waco to take on Baylor. Yeah, this is what do we have here? A total of 60. What do you got here?
Utah's going to win, and this is part of my three-leg moneyline parlay again with USF, USC, and then the Utes. Utah's winning this game. And I kind of lean Utah against the spread as well, but I just need them to win here. I could see Baylor and Sawyer Robertson in that offense maybe getting a backdoor cover, which is why I just made the money line parlay one of my best bets. So yeah, I like you. I like Utah outright here for sure. Um, Something of note. So Baylor's AD just recently stepped down from being one of the members of the playoff committee. Guess who took his place?
Did the Utah? Yeah.
Yeah. So Utah, based on ranking, based on how the season's been playing out, and based on what's still left to play, Utah is definitely in the running for the college football playoff. And if Utah puts up impressive numbers, keep in mind who is now part of that playoff committee. So Utah
Utah's
at
gonna need
large,
BYU to lose another game though.
yes, they do, and they might lose this week to TCU. So we'll see.
Ooh. We'll get into that one later. That's a late game. Okay, next game. Florida Gators at Ole Miss. Ole Miss laying 11 and a half. Revenge spot from last season. This Gators team kicked out Ole Miss's hopes and dreams of the college football playoff. Now the Rebs have a chance at revenge here. What happened? What, you found a different number?
Wait a second. Did you say 11 and a half?
I'm seeing 11 and a half at Bet
Wow.
Online.
You're right. That was 15 and a half earlier in the week.
15?
Yeah.
Wow. I never saw that.
I lean Ole Miss here.
Yeah.
But I don't have a best bet for this game.
Yeah, same here. I really don't know what to expect from Florida. Ole Miss has looked great, especially offensively, very underrated. And yeah, Gators, I mean, Yeah, it's a huge revenge spot. I think Ole Miss could destroy them. Kind of like the Texas A&M South Carolina game. Just a massive, massive revenge spot here, with teams looking to run up the score for college football playoff purposes. Especially at the end of the season, if it's going to be Ole Miss against Texas. Texas got beat by Florida. Ole Miss is going to want to kill Florida, so I think the Rebs run it up here. I wouldn't be surprised if they win this one by a large margin. All right, here's an ugly one, but one that you may have something on. 6 p.m. kick, the Purdue Boilermakers at the Washington Huskies. Huskies laying 17 points.
No, I don't have anything here.
Washington destroyed your hopes and dreams last week against Wisconsin.
They had that schedule to set them up for a home finale against the Ducks,
Yeah.
and then they lost to Wisconsin. They lost to a team that had a leading passer be their punter.
Wow.
Wisconsin's leading passer was their punter,
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
Washington
That's
lost.
ridiculous.
Gosh, man, that was heartbreaking.
All right, next game. Okay, 6:30 kick. The Texas Longhorns at the Georgia Bulldogs. Bulldogs laying 6.5 in Athens. You have anything in this game?
No, I don't.
Yeah, me either. Texas is coming off of a bye. I could see them playing this one close, especially with the way that Georgia's defense has been playing. Although Georgia looked like the best team in the country against Mississippi State last week, not saying a whole lot. But if Georgia plays like they did against the Bulldogs, they may destroy Texas in this game. Sarkisian has never beaten Georgia, I believe. 0-4. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I'll pull it up.
They lost twice last year. Are they? Is he 0-3? Yeah, go ahead and look that up because I'm pretty sure he's never beaten Georgia at Texas.
Is it 0-2?
Is maybe. Let me, because I know they lost twice last year.
I don't remember them playing before last year. Yeah, since Sark's been there. I know they didn't play in 2021, obviously. 2022, they didn't play.
Maybe it's just two. Maybe it's two.
2023, they didn't play. And then, yeah, so yeah, 0-2.
Yeah, there's SEC Championship, Austin, and that was the Sugar Bowl or whatever. Okay, yeah, 0-2, 0-2, my bad. Okay, yeah, so he's never defeated Georgia. Now they go ahead. Did I lose you there, Connor?
Are you still? Am I? Can you still see me?
I can't see you. I don't know if I
Really?
messed something up. Let me see if it's.
I can
Let
still
me,
see you.
you can see me? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it's fine. Just gonna look really quick and see if it's messed. No, I can still see you. Okay. All right, it's fine. It's fine. All right, yeah. Nothing in this game. I feel like, you know, Texas's A game, of course, like they'll probably cover here, but how many times have we seen Texas A game this year? Same thing, same could be said about Georgia. Can't trust their defense, so no play for me. I'm definitely going to sit back and enjoy this one, but I've got nothing in this game. Do you?
Yeah, I don't have anything for this game. This is similar to Alabama and Oklahoma. I just kind of want to kick back and
Yeah.
watch.
All right, next game, 6:30. Virginia Tech Hokies at Florida State. Seminoles laying 13.5. You have anything here?
Nope, not a single thing.
All right, next game, UCLA at Ohio State. Buckeyes laying 31.5. Do you have anything here?
Nope, too big of a number. And finally, Ohio State did not cover last week against Purdue.
Yeah,
So,
Purdue covered shockingly, but they did it.
and
All
it's
right,
this is like
6:45. Mississippi State at Missouri. Tigers laying 7 points. Do you have anything here?
thought about it with Mississippi State, but they're a little too banged up for me to like them. And Missouri's at home. I don't trust either team. Man, if either of these teams were playing um, any other SEC team, I'd probably fade them. But
Who got injured for Mississippi State?
well, it's just depth wise. It's not like a star
Hmm.
player. They're just banged up right now as a whole.
Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah, Mississippi State finally didn't cover a spread last week against Georgia. Pretty bad loss there. they got destroyed and they couldn't stop Georgia's running game. So if Mizzou doesn't throw the ball once and they run it every single time, I think Missouri can cover the spread. But I don't know if they will or not. They should. If they run it every time, they'll be fine. I got close to picking Mississippi State here, but I think this is finally the time that Missouri could just run the football every play and they could win. So if they do that, they'll be fine. No play for me. Let's see here. Next game, Louisiana Tech at Washington State. Cougars laying 7.5. This is a 9 p.m. kick. You have anything here?
No. So in the summer, the reason why I took the Louisiana Tech conference wins and not the Louisiana Tech regular season wins. So, well, I mean, when you look at their overall schedule, their non-conference was pretty tricky. Looking at it from an outside, from an going into the season, you would have thought that's a pretty tricky non-conference. You host Southern Miss, you're at LSU, you're at Washington State. They ended up beating Southern Miss. They kept it interesting against LSU for a while. But this was one of the big reasons why I didn't take that overall regular season win total because of this spot. So, coming off the Delaware game and now a loss, you have to travel essentially across the country to go to Washington State here for a non conference game. And Louisiana Tech, by the way, they're starting quarterbacks out for the year. Not that that weighs heavily for them with the way they play, but I like Wazoo in this spot. But maybe Louisiana Tech's defense can still keep a minute and keep it interesting. So, what is it, 8.5 now? So
I'm
I
seeing
don't have.
7.5.
Okay. I don't have any best bets at that spread. Um, so maybe lean under for the full game, but this is going to be an ugly one. I'm not sure if Louisiana Tech gets off the bus for this game, to be honest with you. Louisiana Tech, from a talent perspective, I still believe in them this year, but I'll tell you what, if they lose this talent, which I'm sure they will through the portal and through graduation, maybe a couple or a few guys to the NFL, they might be on my fade watch because that's a pretty bad coaching staff.
Yeah.
They have not gotten the most out of this team, John. They honestly, like, outside of the LSU game, and I guess Kennesaw State got out a little bit out of hand there towards the end. Outside of those two games, they shouldn't have a loss.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree. They've been great this year, except for that game, the Kennesaw State game for sure. But yeah, they've it's going to be tough for them to retain any talent. That's for sure.
right, but like what I'm also saying is this coaching staff has not gotten the most out of this talent. Like they
I
they
agree.
lose, they,
I
they lose
agree.
close
And
games.
this is what, year 4 of Sonny Cumby? 5?
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah. And they haven't been good, except for this season. This is their best season, so at least they're
It's
building something. But
they have an identity finally, but they're going to be losing all the guys responsible for that identity, which is defense and physicality. But they just, like, if they're not in a close game, that probably means they're winning as long as they're not playing LSU or I guess Kennesaw State. But outside of LSU, like, they are pretty much killing their opponents. But when they lose, when it's close, they're going to lose. They're going to find a way to lose.
yeah, and Sonny Cumby's an offensive coach, and they haven't had an offense in 4 or 5 years, so that's not a good thing either.
Yeah, so look, I wasn't a huge believer in Cumbie, but they got a new OC, and I was thinking it's Conference USA. Half these teams are going to suck,
Yeah,
more than half. So I'm like, I'm sure this defense is going to find ways to help this team overachieve. The staff has been so bad to where they've still underachieved. Now, is this still the best roster and team under Cumbie? Yes. No one's going to argue against that, but that was obvious. But like, man, this team should be in the thick of things to still play for the conference title. And like they blew the game against Delaware, and they blew the game against West. Well, they had to come back, and then they blew the game against Western Kentucky.
hmm
Louisiana Tech just does not know how to win close games. So, hopefully in their last two conference games, so I can cash the over, it's not close. Because if it's close, they're going to find a way to lose.
yeah, I agree with that. All right, next game, 9 p.m. kick. The TCU Horned Frogs take on the BYU Cougars. BYU laying 3.5 at home. You have anything here?
Um, I lean TCU here in an outright upset. You would think so. TCU plus 3.5, right? I mean, that's the way I lean. Yeah, but BYU, Kalani Sitake, they are the opposite of TCU this year. So TCU underachieves, finds ways to lose close games, and is
Oh,
more talented.
that game against Iowa State,
Yeah.
brutal. They were
And then
awful.
BYU, like so TCU this year by Big 12 standards. So you take this with a grain of salt because there's not a ton of difference with these teams. But again, from a Big 12 perspective, so far this year, TCU is one of those teams that gets the least out of the most, and BYU is one of those teams that gets the most out of the least.
I
So
agree with
that's why I
that.
can't make it a best bet. Kalani Sitake is getting the most out of his team, and then the TCU staff has gotten the least out of their team this year. So now, on paper, in this spot, oh, it screams TCU. The Sharps are all over the Horned Frogs. That spread's gone down from like 6 to 3.5, and TCU is still getting some of the sharp money here. And I agree. Like I am never gonna tail BYU this year. Heck no. But can I tail TCU? I don't know. I can't make it a best bet. I can't do that.
I agree. I agree with you. I would lay if this gets down to three. I would take it with BYU. I don't trust TCU. I trust BYU, especially coming off an embarrassing loss to Tech. BYU still has a chance not only at the Big 12 championship, but the college football playoff if they win out. I still think that they could sneak in there. A lot of football left and a lot of matchups left. We'll see, but they do have a chance, and they got to beat TCU. All right,
So
9:30.
real
Go ahead.
quick, with TCU's conference loss to Iowa State, they're pretty much out of it now to play for the Big 12 title. But TCU can have a very large say so in which teams end up playing for the Big 12 title. So TCU's last 3 games of the regular season at BYU tomorrow night, at Houston, and then they host Cincinnati.
Okay.
TCU
Houston
can create
has two.
chaos.
Houston only has no. Houston has two Big 12 losses.
Yeah,
Cincinnati has two Big 12 losses.
I think only one.
They've only gotten beat by Utah. That's their only loss.
Yeah,
Utah has two losses. They got beat by Texas Tech and BYU.
yeah,
BYU only has one loss, correct?
correct.
Okay. Does BYU play Cincinnati?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that'll probably determine, as of right now, that'll probably determine who will play Texas Tech, right?
TCU could also decide who ends up playing Texas Tech
That's
because if
true.
TCU
Yeah,
takes
we'll
down
see.
BYU, so we'll see. I
Yeah, like
mean,
I said, it's basically see this is what I don't understand and I disagree with having a larger playoff because these are all basically little playoff games. So if you think about it like that, there doesn't need to be an expanded playoff. The only reason why you get an expanded playoff is just for, more money for networks and whatnot. But these are all just mini playoff games like, the TCU game and whenever BYU plays Cincinnati. These are all mini playoff games. Georgia, Texas, mini playoff game. So Alabama, Oklahoma. These are all little playoff games. All right, next game. Wyoming Cowboys at the Fresno State Bulldogs. Bulldogs laying 3.5 at home. You have anything here?
nope. Do you?
No, no, not at all. I don't have anything. Next game, yeah. No, I lean Fresno because Wyoming's not great on the road, but nothing. I'm not gonna lay the hook. But we got the last game of the night, get out game, and this is at 9:30, a 9:30 kick. Boise State at San Diego State. Aztecs laying 2 points at home. You have anything here?
Oh yeah, I've got two best bets for this game. So first of all, give me San Diego State money line. That's at a much better price than what I tweeted it out last night. I'm not shocked that there's some money coming in on Boise just because like once that spread was going to go to 3. Everyone was going to be on Boise at that time. At that point, John, you want to talk about a team being beat up right now and having a ton of injuries? That's Boise State. They are
Yeah,
limping into this game, so they're not going to have the starting quarterback. They're not going to have 3 of their best 5 receivers. I don't know how Boise scores. I mean, San Diego State would have to screw up, and they're college kids. They might, but
yeah,
like they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to hand Boise 7 to 13, 14 points to give Boise a shot to win this game because Boise's run defense, surprisingly, has not really been all that good this year. So San Diego State might be able to just bully Boise in this game and beat them 17-7, something like that. Give me Boise team total under 20.5. You can find that at FanDuel right now. It is juiced, but hey, if you're going to give me about that key number, I'm going to take it.
So, in this, like, why wouldn't you want to take San Diego State? You don't, do you think they,
That's my second best bet.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
So give me the Boise team total under 20.5, and then give me San Diego State money line.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. That's what I was like. If you think that, San Diego State's defense gonna, shut them down, why not just, take the Aztecs on the money line?
Yeah, I'm going to do both those things because I could see a scenario where the final score is like 14-10, and maybe San Diego State gets a late stop, or maybe they get a late score. Because I could still see a scenario in which their offense struggles here, because I don't think San Diego State's offense is great. But
Yeah.
I definitely think Boise State is in for an uphill battle. So here's a little bit of insight for DDSN Nation. Um, I'm not going to say who the person is, but somebody that I know that covers the Boise State football program, he was telling me that this backup quarterback for the Broncos just does not have it. He doesn't have what it takes to succeed at this level. That's what he thinks. That's what a lot of people around Boise think right now. So there's not a ton of confidence going into this game. Again, Boise, even coming off the bye week, has a ton of injuries. They're banged up. So you would think Boise coming off the bye. It's the Broncos, right? Yes, this is not a great spot for Boise. San Diego State, as I kind of hinted towards a couple weeks ago, I didn't think they were going to play great at Hawaii for a couple of reasons, but one of those reasons was because it was kind of a look ahead spot to this game. The winner of this game has a great shot to play for the Mountain West title. So give me San Diego State on the money line. You can find maybe some 125s out there, maybe some
Do
130s.
125.
Yeah, so give me San Diego State on the money line and give me that Boise State team total under 20.5.
All right, that'll work. Well, that's all the games. Let's go ahead and go over what you have, and then I'll go over mine. That way we could close it up with that. So, what all do you have this weekend?
It's 2025 DDSN Nation, so what do? We lay it with the Golden Eagles. Southern Miss -3. Give me East Carolina money line against Memphis. Not a good spot for Memphis. I wonder if they're going to be motivated. Oh, I didn't even talk about this when we were going over that game, John. Is Memphis' starting quarterback even going to play? And if he does, is he going to be healthy? Is he even going to look that good or play that well? I don't know. Um, Big home game for the Pirates. Biggest home game in about a decade. Give me East Carolina on the money line. Wake Forest, team total under 22.5. Wake Forest might beat North Carolina. I don't think they're going to score more than 20 or 21. I think they're going to be lucky to get more than 17. So give me that Wake Forest team total under 22.5. That's above a couple of key numbers. We were just discussing the San Diego State Boise State game. I have two best bets for this game. Give me San Diego State on the money line and give me Boise State team total under 20.5. And then something that I talked about throughout the show with my moneyline parlay. It's a three-legger. Give me USF, USC, and Utah moneyline parlay. I think that pays about 135. But yeah, again, it's a three-legger. But I really like that moneyline parlay there.
Perfect. All right, great. All right, let me go over mine, and I have one, two, three, four, five, five. Finished with five. All right, first one is Pitt plus 12.5. I like the Pitt Panthers. I think there's way too many points for Notre Dame to lay on the road. A&M laying 18 points. I think they're going to destroy South Carolina. My hot take is Gamecocks aren't even going to score a touchdown. And number three, Northwestern Wildcats hosting Michigan. Way too many points here. I think Northwestern, if they run the football, they can make this an ugly game with Michigan. Low scoring game, close game. As long as they keep the throwing to a minimum, I think Northwestern keeps this one close. And I don't agree with the spread. I think it should be a little bit lower here. I'll take the double digits with Northwestern. Same thing with West Virginia plus 11 and a half. Going up against Arizona State. Sun Devils do have a good defense, but West Virginia should be able to move the ball. I think this would be another low scoring game, so give me the double digits. And then finally, New Mexico laying 14 points. I love the Lobos here at home against Colorado State. No look ahead spot, just a New Mexico offense should destroy this Colorado State team. Colorado State's nothing special on either side of the football. They'll be having trouble trying to keep pace with the New Mexico offense. I think New Mexico could run it up here. And that's my five record on the season 24, 19, and 5 pushes. But yeah, that's it. You have anything else for us, Connor?
To me, I think I've got a great card for this week. I felt great about last week. I went 500, but I had a couple games where I was real close to winning. So
Yeah.
I still stand with where I was last week with every single one of those plays. And I love all these plays this week. And when you get to this time of year, again, a lot of it comes down to motivation, some of these spot plays. So I feel great about every single one of these.
Yeah, me too. I liked mine last weekend, but again, 500, I don't like it, but we'll move on. I like what we have this week, a lot of big double digit dogs, so I'm in favor of that. And the two blowouts, I do think that'll happen. And yeah, I'm confident with my card this week, hoping to keep my, record well above 500. So let's keep it rolling.
All right.
All right, we'll go ahead and shut it down there. And thanks for everyone that tuned in, chatted with us, and good luck to us this weekend. All right, we'll see y'all later.